6 Omicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie. Talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello, Falcon Paladin.
Hello, relatively sick Omicron.
Relatively, yes, that is. I am relatively sick compared to the average person, I suppose. It's technically accurate, yes.
Yes, I think I used the correct word there.
I am falling apart. That's how it feels.
Yep. So that's not great, but at least you're on some medication, and hopefully we'll be getting better.
When they give you antibiotics, and they're in each pill is in its own little pouch, until you know it's the good stuff.
That's fancy.
Yeah.
I mean that. Somebody probably paid like $100 per pill if they're individually packaging them like that. Man,
somebody might. Yeah, not Australia, you're not, but yeah, somebody somewhere.
no,
might.
not you, but someone is. Someone's paying the person who made that drug for the pill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
woof. For 5 days worth of pills, it was $6.99 because of socialized healthcare. It was great.
Indeed. Yeah. Anyway, hope you get better soon. Sooner is better than not, and I'm sure they told you to take the full run of your antibiotics, even if you're feeling better after a couple days. Because people not taking their full run is how we get superbugs.
Yes. You need to kill all of the bacteria, not just enough to make you feel better. Yes.
Correct. Good. That's our tip for today.
Yeah.
Take the full run of your antibiotic dose that is prescribed to you by a doctor. If you don't do it, you're killing us all.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad we're straight. Yeah. So last week we had a great conversation about a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, didn't really make it to any of the interwebs in the way that we'd like it to.
No. So one of two things happened last week. One is somehow the audio settings enabled your audio track to not be recorded in the VOD. It's possible. I can't really check or to fix that because the other option is that Twitch finally killed their Twitch Studio streaming software, and you load it and it's just a black screen. Yes. So I have last minute adapted it to OBS, and I have not worked out how to fix the fact that our cameras are above the overlay arc.
There are going to be some problems you might notice here today, but let's just roll with them. Omicron is doing his best here with late notice.
For instance, chat will not be displayed in the VOD either. Normally that scrolls through on the screen. Not going to happen. Not working that out today. I am on far too many medications to care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on no medications, and I also don't care. So I think we'll be good today. I think we'll be fine. Not going to stress about it. But anyway, it's really interesting because we spent a while talking about the attempted assassination of Trump. And, today, I'm not even sure if it's, a thing anymore, you know?
Because, cares?
Yeah, I kind of feel like nobody cares. In the stuff I've seen... people post things that what Trump's talking about now. He's not even talking about it anymore.
Interesting.
I'm not seeing posts from his supporters being like, remember when Trump almost got killed? It's like, no, they're just like, whatever. I honestly think Biden stepping down and Harris taking over has kind of just reset this whole experience.
Interesting.
That happened, and then it's like, it's a whole new race. Anything that happened before then doesn't count. Let's go. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. I did see somebody basically say that the fact that one of the candidates nearly died 2 weeks ago should be a bigger deal at this stage, but isn't. So I guess
it isn't. And I think I mean, there's no proof of this, but I think I said this last week. The attention span of the American voter is 4 seconds. If this happens in October, huge effect on the election in November. September even, we could probably pull that off. But July is nope, no way. By the time the election rolls around, everybody's going to be I think something important happened back in July. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has Mr. Donald Trump been out in public since?
Huh?
Like,
Yeah, his bandage is gone. He wore his bandage for about a week,
uh-huh.
and now it's gone. And there's no like obvious damage to the ear. It's not like there's a scar. It's not like there's a scab even.
There's not a hole. It'd
No,
be great if there's
no.
just a big chunk missing. Like,
I'm like,
like he'd been hit by a bullet or something even.
yeah. Falcon says there's no sign of damage. And Saul Macron goes, "Is there a hole in his ear?" Nope. No, there is not. So, I mean, I don't know. People like two people behind him got shot and killed by bullets. So, like, he was at the very least shot at.
Sure.
As far as what hit him, was there a shrapnel from something, or if he got super grazed, like the graziest graze of a graze, enough to draw some blood, but like that's it, you know? I don't know.
He's a 70-something-year-old man. I'm sure he has the healing factor of Wolverine, and that's why we can't see even the slightest graze left to his face.
His ear, yeah. Yeah, I just my mom is a registered nurse, and she always said head wounds bleed like stuck pigs. If you can get a cut on your head, like a comparable cut anywhere else, will not bleed nearly as much. There's just a ton of blood capillaries up there to feed your brain and stuff. I don't know if that counts for your ears, though. There aren't any brains in your ears to be fed by blood capillaries. I don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever. It doesn't really matter. Everybody can pretty much agree that, yeah, like some 20-year-old dude took 7 or 8 shots at Trump, missed, did kill some people who were on the stage behind him, and then got killed by the Secret Service, who, we're not going to go over this again, but like failed miserably, not having anybody on the, I said initially, well, actually, there's no proof of this, on the 5 or 6 buildings that are in the general area. They didn't have Secret Service agents on every one. There was one roof that was not protected, and that's the one that this rando climbed up with a rifle and took some shots at a former president. The other thing is, I keep seeing posted like this kid was like, I don't know, like super right-wing, whatever, anti-immigration, like all these different things. First of all, he's a 20-year-old kid. Second of all, it's weird that a right-winger tried to take a shot at Trump. But I think we said this last time. Yeah, go ahead.
So there is proof of me saying it if I want to make that VOD visible to people.
Oh, that's true.
There's just enough information that you could pick and pull and make a narrative out of everything. Like, the kid was super right-leaning in school, but also like donated to a Democratic foundation at one point, right? Like, you can spin the narrative either way, and either way, I think it would be hard to like really nail down how exactly a 20-year-old feels politically.
Yeah, generally. I think that's accurate. And I mean, anybody who's willing to take a shot at a former president or current president, their mentality isn't exactly the most stable.
Sure.
Right. In the history of assassinations by randos of political figures, it's not like, and they were a very solid human being. They held down a job. They had tons of friends. They were very easy to talk to. They, graduated, magna cum laude from their college and stuff. It's like, no, it's generally, they were kind of weirdos and loners, and maybe they just, something told them they wanted to kill somebody important so that they'd be remembered. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's...
Some of them just wanted to be best friends with Jodie Foster. It happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there are other examples of assassins who are just like, I didn't really care who I killed. I just wanted to kill someone important. It's like, wow, all right, that's a motivation, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that happens. It's kind of a big deal. And then Biden, after like 5 days earlier, being like, I'm not stepping down. Screw everyone. I hate you for talking about this. It's like, I'm stepping down. It's time. It's like, well, that was awful fast, Joe.
Yeah, he's worried he might get shot now.
Oh, maybe that's it. He's like, all right, someone's out there taking shots at senior citizens. I don't want to do this job anymore. Just Nobody told me he was dangerous.
Yeah.
So anywho, so yeah, he steps down. Everybody pretty quickly agrees it's Kamala Harris who's going to be the new candidate. Like, there's no round of primary voting. Like, all the people who pledged their delegate votes to Biden just swapped them over to Harris pretty much immediately. And we're off.
How do you feel about that?
I prefer that the person who's running for president has been chosen by their party through a voting process.
You don't feel that this late, like this little time before the election, that like if you wanted to have 6 more people all have a very short campaign, you're just gonna like nobody will be happy at the end of that?
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I do understand how little amount of time there is to do this. But it'd be different if Harris had finished like 3rd in the primary voting or like 4th in the primary voting. But she got her ass kicked both times in 16 and 20 in the Democratic primaries. Dropped out well before the end of the primary voting process. Just was nowhere to be seen. Did not gather any support from her party at all. So here's the thing. If this was a normal election and Trump wasn't involved, I'd be like, that's a problem. You need people to like her if you're going to win this election. But she's not Trump. She is. She's not Trump. Just like Biden was not Trump. I think there are going to be 46 million votes for not Trump this year. And that works.
Yeah.
That's all you need. So I'm pretty sure we're just looking at another not Trump victory for 2 elections in a row. And then maybe Trump will go away. I don't know.
It's certainly possible, but I did see briefly that she'd also like raised a record-breaking amount in donations, so there is some support for her.
As not Trump? Yes, she definitely did. Once she was not Trump, she got all the money.
Okay. So there's no
when
none of
she
those
was
donations
not,
can be genuine. They're all just because she's not Trump.
I mean, I think there's a certain amount of people happy to see representation. I think people in certain communities are like, oh, someone who's more like me than Biden was.
Yeah.
I'll support this person with a little more oomph to it, right? I
Yeah.
get that totally.
Aki says not Trump Biden didn't get all the money. Yeah.
I mean, how much was his war chest? Like $300 million? Yeah, I think he got a lot of money. He certainly did, as not Trump. Anyway, so look, it would really bolster my argument if nobody donated to her after she was announced. I'd be like, see? But I do think, yeah, the not Trump of it all is just enough. It's enough for people to open their wallets. I mean, they are doing a hardcore YouTube campaign to ask for more donations for the presidential election. As soon as Biden stepped down, like the next day, I saw 5 or 6 Kamala Harris talking to me ads being like, I just need $5, man. I was like, okay, they are hitting this hard. And I imagine they're all over like news channels and cable TV and stuff too, but they're hitting YouTube pretty big as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's nice to have somebody who's literally not 85 years old trying to do this. Like, I appreciate that Harris has it together more than both Biden and Trump do. I don't think she's super likable, but I don't think that matters in this election. So hey, let's go. Yeah, I'll vote for her. Like, that's where I am with this thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not an American citizen. What I say?
You're gonna vote for her anyway?
I'm gonna vote for her twice.
Yeah. Mail-in ballots. Hey, this mail-in ballot is postal stamped from Sydney. It's like, yep, it's fine. It's probably an American living overseas. It'll be all right.
Statistically, there has to be at least one, right?
Yeah, I'll bet there's a bunch of American citizens living in Sydney. You could totally take one of their votes. Nobody would notice. But if they're living in Sydney, they're not voting. Wow. Maybe some of them are.
Do you know that?
Not all of them.
That would be great, because when you live in a foreign country, you're obliged to follow their laws, right? Voting's mandatory here. Surely he should be mandatory. Like any Americans living here, mandatorily have to vote in their own elections.
They write the law to be like, if you're living in Australia, you have to vote in your home country's elections. Even if you're not an Australian citizen, you got to vote somewhere, man. That's funny.
I'd love that.
You could be a felon living in Sydney and not be able to vote in an American election.
Do
Then they can't make you.
Do felons not vote in federal elections?
Correct. In America.
Oh, so Trump can't actually vote for himself this time around.
Correct.
Oh, that's funny.
He cannot. That is funny. You're right.
I'd love it if like the count came down to one vote. Oh.
I mean, impossible, but that would be hilarious.
Impossible,
It'd be
but-
very, very, very funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough politics. And then last week we also spent like an hour and a half. Makes me sad that we lost all of this.
On what was the book called?
I have
The
book
Angel
title issues.
Exterminatus.
Yeah, Angel Exterminatus.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we can just be brief and summarize it. It's Fulgrim tricking his big brother Perturabo into sacrificing some life energy to become a demon prince, and then just disappear.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I think I specifically made the point that Perturabo, very specifically to himself and others, says, I cannot trust Fulgrim. And then is like, a wonderful gift from my brother. Look at this beautiful cloak. I'm going to wear it all the time. Like Perturabo.
To be fair, how often, even in the world of Warhammer, is a cloak a soul-draining stone, you know?
Do you trust him or not? Does he do secret magic shit all the time that you don't understand?
He wasn't a psycho before this. Like, he gets the
Perturabo
cloak...
or Fulgrim?
Both. Like, Fulgrim wasn't a psycho. He was a lavish dude. And you get a fancy cloak from a lavish dude, and you go, that's a pretty lavish cloak. And you put it on, and you go, that's pretty lavish. I look pretty bitchin'.
Yes. And also, Fulgrim rolls up with, like, something has changed in his legion. Something is different about Fulgrim right now.
He turns up with an entire carnival of freaks, yeah.
Yeah,
but it's still just a piece of clothing, right?
Let's reevaluate, man. I'm just saying. I would have someone look it over. I'd be like, I don't know about this thing. I don't trust Fulgrim. I do not trust him.
Fair enough.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had some, whatever. I mean, the story is basically somebody said, we need to explain how Fulgrim became a demon prince. And then the author's like, on it. And they did. Ta-da!
Ta-da! And then we need to, like, explain why Lucius has a whip. Here's how Lucius gets his whip. I remember the takeaway being from this, it was all of the head nods to future events, right?
There are a bunch of them that I don't even know because I haven't read as much 40K as you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm starting to be able to pick up on that more now, where it's like, this feels like they're just trying to set up future stuff that's already happened.
So there is some... Okay, so I think we're done with this. But we've also read The Crimson King for this week by Graham McNeill. And I have not finished the book because I've been sick.
Right.
But I know most of the events of all of the books. So I'm not... If you spoil... It's unlikely you can spoil much for me. And I've only got like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe left in the audiobook.
Okay, so you're deep into it.
Yeah. And as far as I can tell, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to spoil in this book. It's like, by the end of the book, here's what I'm going to imagine's happening. I'm going to take a guess.
Okay.
Magnus is still looking for more shards of his soul.
No.
Okay.
Nope. He back.
He back. Okay, that's interesting because I
do have questions, though.
I've read a future book in where he's still looking for more shards of his soul.
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
So, okay. So here's what I feel this book is. This book is, all right, so Magnus gets its back broken by Lehman Russ, on Prospero. But then he escapes. But his soul is shattered into different shards, and he's weakened. And each individual shard is the Primarch. It is Magnus, just different aspects of him and weaker. So my question is, there's one of those that was under the surface of Prospero that our guy, White Scar guy, kills.
Yeah.
So, does Magnus know that?
I don't know that he knows that.
Because he should be looking for that one, but he's not.
Well, he doesn't like. Okay, so I think they can.
He doesn't know how many there are.
He doesn't. Either he doesn't know how many there are, or he can sense them, but he can't sense them
Yes.
if they're gone, right? So this one gets
Right.
destroyed, and then he goes, "Okay, I guess there was only 7." You know, not
Okay,
8.
but like he's not. I mean, wouldn't he be able to tell if he's a whole returned Magnus?
Well, they all think they're Magnus in their moments.
They do, but they don't feel like. I don't know. I feel like a couple of them we had conversations with in this book where they knew they weren't the whole thing.
Right.
Like they recognized something was off, right?
Yeah. Like the one.
I'm just saying.
The one that's trying to memorize every book in a library. It's like every time I finish a book, there's 3 more.
Yeah.
Like-
He's like, this totally sucks. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'd messaged you and said there's way too much like magic bullshit in this book for me to really super enjoy it because it is so much of it is like, as far as I know, there's no established magic rules we're following here. It's just like, I don't know, no one's really talked about this before, so this is how this is going to work now. And so much of it happens in the warp too, where it's like, there are no rules. You can do whatever in the warp. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least that's established. Like, at least they've said the warp does whatever the warp wants to. And like, all right, fine. I'm on board with that one.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just like, and now the sorceress cast this other spell to do this thing. And then it went wrong because they stepped out of the MacGuffin and then they had to cast other spells and like they were binding their powers to each other and making deals.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you can have a certain number of that in a book and it be fine. But at some point, it's like, I found myself drifting out when I was listening to this, being like, okay, here comes another magical showdown, you know?
Yes. Yeah, there's these space marines who are like, we're going to stand in a formation that is protective against this type of thing. And I'm like, this has never shown up in any of the other books, including books where you guys were. What is going on? Yeah. So that bugs me.
So there are definitely some books where that is just a bit of flavoring thrown in, and it totally works. There's a series called Eisenhorn, and he's been trained with his like sword and by some special far off landish tribe, and he's like. Dan Abnett describes Eisenhorn swinging his sword in an upthul and then the Siva cut, you know, and it's like, what do those actually mean? And it's like, it's whatever you want, and it's fun, but he doesn't like go for a page and a half of that. It's like he does 1 or 2, and then the fight's kind of over.
Yeah, and everybody does that. Everybody sprinkles in little stuff every once in a while that, like, we're not really establishing canon here. This is probably never going to be used again.
Right.
But it's just fun, and it adds some interesting, just flavor to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, but so much of this book is that. So much of it.
I think the way to describe this book is overly spiced.
Yeah. Like Hathor Matt. He starts experiencing the flesh change, which we've established cannot be defeated. Like there's a point early on in the book where they're trying to stop the flesh change in one of their brothers, and they think they do it. They think they've done it, and no, it doesn't work.
No.
So Hathor Matt's changing, and Lucius and our new demon best friend, Agathoremnon, whatever that crap his name is, it's way too long.
The wiki does not list the name of demons because they're not dramatis personae.
That's actually really funny. I like that. Oh, I'm like looking through the book trying to find it. I'm in the wrong book. Let's look in the right book and try to find the name of this demon. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Demon of the moment, who's the same as every other demon we've ever met. Offering power and being sneaky about it, and then the price is more than you thought it was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so him and Lucius are like, hey, we can stop the flesh change. It's like, okay, sure, I guess. And then later it turns out the way to do it is like sucking the life force from other random humans.
Right.
And that renews your body and holds off the flesh change. And it's like, oh, sure. Okay, that's good. I'm glad we found the answer to this thing they've been trying to find, a fix for centuries here. But all right. Like, you'd think another demon before now would have been like, this is how you stop it. Or like, I'm offering this knowledge in exchange for something else.
Maybe.
They've had pacts with demons for a long time now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those
That's
things
all.
where demons are creatures of the warp, right?
Yep.
And the Thousand Sons are heavily wrapped around Tzeentch, who is the changer, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so it's entirely feasible just to say that Tzeentch let this one demon wait till now to offer this bargain, and that's why this works. Like, other demons
Sure.
couldn't just give you this power. It's because this power is very specifically being offered because it works here,
Yeah, I mean, I get that. But again, it's just one of those things that shows up in this book, and it's another thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and then Hathor Matt just gets totally possessed by this demon, and all of it was for naught anyway, which kind of bugged me too. But again, it's Warhammer, so hey, it fits.
It fits.
Yeah. The other thing I feel like they're all right, Graham, we need you to write this book. We need you to explain what the Thousand Sons did from Prospero until the the assault on Terra.
Right. And we're going to put that in one book.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are parts where it's like one of the legionnaires, one of Magnus's like right-hand men is looking for him.
Ammon. Yeah.
Yep. In the warp, and it's taking him decades, and like then it takes them centuries to get back once he finds Magnus, and it's tough because they get back to their home base. And he says something like, the remaining Space Marines who didn't go on this magical mystery tour trying to find Magnus's shards had been waiting for centuries for them to come back with Magnus, with his shards, so they can restore this one shard that's been here for a while, and it's been fading away. And I don't know. And it's just like, it's hard to wrap your mind around. Centuries have passed in this one book.
But it's all taking place inside of a 7-year heresy. Is that where you're getting stuck? It's like, okay, it took them centuries, but like we know time doesn't exist in the warp.
Right.
And the planet of the sorcerers is in the warp.
Right. So if anybody there, it could have felt like they were waiting that long. Absolutely. Right. It's only 70 years from
like Isfahan 3
Isfahan
to
the assault on Terra.
Yeah, it's 7 years.
Wow. Why did I think it was a lot longer than that?
Because everything in Warhammer usually has a gigantic timeline to it.
That's probably why. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, so there's just that whole sense of it too, where it's just like a ton of time passed, but you don't get a feel for it.
Right.
And plus, Magnus is a Primarch anyway. He's not going to change that much over that much time, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that like with his soul shattered and like pieces of it distinctly being like, I'm fading away. That like I think that's supposed to lend a sense of urgency to it, but when you then also just say, oh well, I've been traveling for decades, centuries even, I don't know. It's like, okay, where'd the urgency go? It's like,
Right.
What is the urgency then? Is it on a millennia scale?
Oh, that's an excellent point. I didn't even put that together. Yeah, because they're like Magnus's shade. The shard that exists on the home base is fading. we gotta go find other shards or it's gonna waste away and die. And then it's like they take forever doing it and they get back and it's like, all right, everything's totally fine. It's like, but yeah, where's the urgency? It took you forever. And everything worked out perfectly anyway.
Yeah.
And like the
So-
planet's collapsing in and on itself because Magnus isn't holding it together anymore, and the remaining Thousand Suns are like trying to hold on barely when Alman and everyone gets back, and it's like, oh, just in the nick of time, and it's like, it's been so long. How did this line up so well? Anyway,
Yeah, well, that's a Zechian plot for you. Doesn't necessarily have to make sense.
that's fair.
It's the greatest get out of jail free card.
Not wrong. Man, so the afterword with Graham McNeill of this book,
Yeah.
he's like, this sucked. And it's like, oh.
He did not have a good time. With this one?
No. No. He says, had a difficult beginning. It had been 5 years since I've written 1,000 Suns. So, like, trying to get back into the headspace took me a while. I also said the tale needed to be worthy of the main players and one that packed a big enough punch from the previous book. This was taking a toll on my confidence in the direction the book was taking, as well as slowing my word count to a crawl.
Oh.
He says, I could barely... What does he say? I was struggling hard to write this book. I was producing like a couple hundred words a day, which is not a pace to write a book in any amount of time.
Unless you're George R. R. Martin.
Is he writing books?
Who knows? Yeah, no, that doesn't sound like he loved it.
No, he's right here. It meant I began to fall out of love with the story and everything about it. It became a real struggle to open the file and try to get words down. I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling it, Graham. So then he moves to Los Angeles, packs up his whole family, moves to LA. And his writing space is this like windowless basement with like a single light bulb. And he's like, I can't go down there, I'll die. That's not motivating at all.
That's rough.
So he puts it away for a year. He's just like, I'm not writing this book for a year. I'm sure his bosses are like, Graham, everything okay?
When did this book came out? This was 2017. So let's go to Graham McNeill. Did he release anything else in that time?
I hope he was writing something else that he had more fun with, because
Right.
just like staring at that thing for a year seems terrible.
Right. Is this in chronological order? It doesn't look like it. Great.
Bleh.
Yeah, so what about the B-side story with who is it? It's got like Yasu Nagasene and the Knights Errant, which I did not know this would cross-sect with that end of the story. Like, I know what's going on with the Knight Errant, the former librarians of the Ultramarines and all that.
Yeah.
So we could have read something else to prep you to know what that is. Like, you kind of get that they're working for Malkador, and they're going to be Titans chosen, whatever that means.
They're trying to find suitable hosts to be a Titan. Yeah.
No.
Suitable something for the Titan program.
Yes. So if you,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, without the other books in the Horus Heresy that explain it, it's all a big head nod to 40K's Inquisition and the Ordo Malleus and their like the order, the Chamber Militant for their order, which is the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights' home planet is Titan.
Right.
In the Sol system. And
Okay.
they are Space Marines who don't have a Primarch, because they were originally founded by like a group of other Space Marines, like a group, like a librarian from the Ultramarines and a librarian from the Raven Guard.
Huh.
Yeah. And so, officially, I don't know if there's an official, like, they don't have like their chapter is a mixed bunch of different gene seeds. That's never the way it's put, even though like all it was formed by a bunch of people with mixed gene seeds, you know? Right?
Okay.
They all refer to their gene seed as being the Emperor's gift, and that maybe their gene seed comes from the Emperor. And that's why they're all psychers, and none of them have ever fallen to chaos.
Okay.
How much of that is like them being brags and
Right. Right.
yeah, you know, propaganda? But I don't know, because like also if you ever meet a Grey Knight, even other Astartes, they'll be like, yeah, so we came in and solved this demon problem for you, but we're gonna have to erase your mind now. So why you need to brag about anything to people whose mind you're going to erase? I don't know.
That is a good point. That is a great point.
Yeah. I will say with Lemuel Gauman, yeah, God, that was. Whew. I was about to say I really liked seeing that character again, because him and Camille and, you know, I really liked all those remembrances from A Thousand Suns. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
we get to see them again as Lemuel forces a mother to kill its own baby.
Right. Well, it's like since you last saw our heroes, they got dumped on a black ship for like 5 years and
years.
mentally tortured constantly.
Uh-huh.
They're mentally shattered and everything sucks. Welcome back to the Warhammer universe,
Welcome
remembrancers. Yeah. Yeah, so that's brutal. Man, can I say it's like Lemuel's talking about how bad it is, and like every night he sleeps, and you know, psychers are trying to get into his brain and figure out like how evil he is and stuff.
Right.
And then it's like, my Camille is here. We're gonna go on a walk, and I'm like, this is not happening. This is totally in your brain. You are hallucinating this, sir, because you are so broken. And the book's like, but it's real. And I'm like, what? You set this up to be fake the whole way. I totally thought he was making her up in his head.
You
I
had
thought
your
she was dead, man.
expectations subverted.
Yeah, it was pretty good work by Graham. But seriously, so like that happens to Lemuel. And then it's like, then he gets dragged around. He gets rescued, ostensibly. I'm using quotation marks with that. By
Right.
friggin' space wolves who hate him because he's a psyker. And, you know, was probably corrupted in some way, but they can't quite tell.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible stuff. And then both our A and our B teams find a shard of Magnus. 2 shards, actually. B team finds 2 shards of Magnus by accident.
Yeah.
Was one of them in the urn?
How near
Did you
the
get
end was
that
that?
far?
I don't know. I know one of them. He's like carrying the urn,
Yeah.
but I know they also have the Codex Maleficum or something. Like they have bad book, and one of them's gonna use the bad book to like do some magic.
Right.
And maybe put a demon or a shard of something into Lemuel, I think is what happens. It's been a while.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So Lemuel ends up being the host for one of the shards of
Yes.
Magnus.
Yes, he becomes a demon
As
host.
a regular old run-of-the-mill human, not a space marine,
Well, he's
not
a psycho.
augmented in any way. Yeah, but barely a psyker. Like, he can, like, read and influence emotions. He's, like, the lowest level of psyker that there is, man. Right?
It's pretty low, yeah.
Yeah, they dump an entire shard of a Primarch into his body, and I'm like, he is not surviving this. And then the book's like, he's totally surviving this. And I'm like, all right. Okay, Graham McNeill. Fine, I guess. You can do whatever you want in this story. You're writing it. But I disagree.
Well, you can remember that the Shard of Magnus is sentient unto itself and probably didn't want to kill random people. Like, he had met Lemuel at one point and was like, yeah, let's tutor this guy. Let's see what he can do. You know? So the Shard gets in him and he goes, I need to hold back. I need to make sure I don't kill this guy.
Sure. But then he gets removed, and I'm like, okay, so now he's dead. Like, that was too much damage to the human body, too much magic fuckery going on. He dead. And it's like, nope, everything just hurts a lot. And it's like, all right, Lemuel's alive. He's your pet. He's your pet character. You want him to stay alive through this whole thing. So fine. I guess Lemuel's going to keep living.
Oh, that's funny.
I love how the Space Wolves are constantly talking about the word in this book too, or weird, however they pronounce it.
Weird.
It's like your future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like they hate Lemuel, and they know that he. Okay, so long story short, they're on the Black Ship, the Thousand Sun, or on the, not on a black ship, a black prison. I guess I called it a black ship, but no, it's like it's on a planet somewhere,
Right.
or a moon, or an asteroid, or something.
It's unclear.
Yeah. So the Thousand Sons attack it because they think a shard of Magnus is there. And all these demons are unleashed during the attack because of Thousand Sons, and that's what they do. And a demon is just hunting, hunting for people to eat and kill. And they're like, the demons hunt and sense by fear. And I'm like, is that established? Is that a thing? If you're not afraid of a demon, can it not see you?
Yeah, maybe is the answer.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
it's always going to be sometimes that might be true. It's what the novel wants to do. It's not wrong, but it's not always right either. There are definitely times where demons just have eyes and can see you, right? Maybe not being afraid will make it harder for it to spot you like through walls, but it won't have that like, oh, I can sense someone afraid in that corner over there, but you won't become invisible to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lemuel. The reason why Lemuel has to keep surviving is because he is actually referenced in a book from like 2005, right?
Ah, there we go. There we go. He's got future plot armor all over him.
Yeah, he becomes one of the first Inquisitors.
What?
Yeah.
Lemuel?
Yeah,
This
that's
guy
why,
kind of sucks, but all right.
That's why I think one of the Space Wolves is like, yeah, you murdered that one woman, but it won't be the first I see in your weird, much more fear and murder in your future,
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the larger point I'm trying to make here is that the Space Wolves hate him and want him to die, but they're like, you're not fated to die here, so we're not going to kill you. It's like,
Right.
Okie doke, guys. And by that, we mean they've read the books. They know that Lemuel doesn't die here.
But that's actually Graham McNeill's subconscious being like, man, I really just want to kill these characters, so I'll just have these characters tell those characters. I can't do it, but if I get the characters to say they want to do it, he'll feel less burdened from wanting to not write them,
Yeah, maybe that's it. Oh, man. All right. So yeah, at the end of the book, some shards of Magnus are returned. They combine to the point where his Space Marines, his legions are like, Magnus is back. Hooray.
Huzzah.
He's no longer like visibly wasting away. There are other shards to find, but he's at like 70% capacity, which is pretty good for a Primarch, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and he immediately goes, all right, I'm back. Let's go join up with Horus and attack Terra. Let's go. And it's like, that was abrupt, but all right.
Let's go.
So that was the first time I had the thought where it's like, oh, so this book basically just needs to get us from Prospero Burns to the Siege of Terra from a Thousand Suns perspective, and I did it in one book. Done.
So yeah, if you look at the flow chart, it does go from Prospero Burns, the Crimson King, and then it goes basically to 2 books away from the start of Siege of Terra. Like, it is right there.
It takes a ton of time and just condenses it right on down. Because, like, I don't even know how many Thousand Suns are left. They really don't want to tell us how many, but a bunch of them died on Prospero.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
So that's the thing. They're not heretically relevant all that much because there aren't that many of them.
No. But they are all mostly really powerful psychics as well.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, to survive Prospero, you probably had to be pretty good with the magics.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I guess we've got our little ragtag of survivors from Istvan, and there's like 20 of those, and they're kicking butt and taking names out there in the galaxy. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could have done more with 1,000 Suns, but I just whoever's in charge of it is just like, we don't need it. We don't need 4 books of 1,000 Suns doing stuff.
I
You
think
get one, guys.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, is that like a lot of the other legions had stuff kind of vaguely known, and so you have to write a whole Pharaoh story or a whole story about how Angron becomes a demon prince. Thousand Sons kind of didn't have a lot, so they're just like, well, we did what we knew was there. What we knew was there was really good, but now they're really small.
Yeah.
And like, if they're small, they can also be divided, and then you can write lots of little stories, right? Like every time an Iron Hands pops up in like Angel Exterminatus, it's like, okay, we get that this isn't the Legion, this isn't Ferrus Manus directing people. It's just there's a couple of them. A couple of them pop up in Ultramar, and a couple of them pop up over here.
Right.
So you can have a couple of them, but the Thousand Sons are both really small and all together. You know?
Right. Like hanging out on
Yeah.
one planet in the warp. Fun times.
Good stuff.
I like the part in the book they're like, we keep trying to name the planet, but every time we come up with a name with it, it changes the thing.
Right. It's the planet of the 7 suns, and then now there's only 6.
Yeah. The planet's totally messing with them. It's fantastic. It's really funny. Yeah. And again, just you can do it because you're in the warp and there are no rules. So have fun with it, Graham.
All right. What are we reading next, Falcon?
What's the book I bought 2 weeks ago?
The Path of Heaven?
Yep, that sounds right. Heralds of the Siege?
Heralds of the Sea. Is that an anthology?
It is.
Do you want to do an anthology? I can do an anthology.
I'm down.
All right.
All right. Featuring stories by James Swallow, Gav Thorpe, John French, Chris Raitt, Guy Haley, and many more.
Ooh. Sounds like good stuff.
Cool. First one is Myriad by Rob Sanders. It starts on Mars.
Cool. Myriad, the Grey Raven, Valerius, the Ember Wolves, Black Shields, Children of Sikaris, Excytosis, the Painted Count. Oh yeah, the Painted Count. I remember pointing out. I remember us talking about this. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention that Lucius has Fulgrim's face now.
Yeah, he like fixed his face.
That happened.
And
Yeah.
it's weird because, like, as far as I'm aware, he doesn't get to keep that. Like, he still just goes back to ritually cutting his own face, right?
Yeah.
Like, what
But
was the
he's-
point of giving him that face?
Yeah, that's weird. He really likes it. He's
Yeah.
very proud of it.
He's very pretty.
I don't know, man. Lucius is a mess.
Something you can say about any Emperor's Children.
Yeah, but Lucius especially, man. He's our guy. Oh yeah, and then I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about this, but during the end boss battle, one of the shards of magnets like raises this pyramid of a maze that like both Team A and Team B get caught in and trapped in and have to find their way out of or into something. And like Lucius has to fight like the 3 best swordsmen he's ever fought at the same time.
Oh, okay.
But they're shades. Like, they're obviously not the people. And he wins. And it's like, you can't really take any pride from that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because our Night Raven, Shurikan or whatever, kicked your ass one-on-one. And to think that him with 2 other really skilled swordsmen couldn't take you down here, it's not real. Like, this doesn't count. I would just expect Lucius to be disappointed by that, but he's also a psychopath, so like, sure, he can take motivation from anything he wants, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, close enough. I'm awesome.
Good old Lucius.
All right. Yeah, what a guy.
What a guy.
Still running around in current day 40K.
you can't get rid of the guy.
Mm-mm.
All right, so do we want to talk about Deadpool?
Oh yeah, we do. Absolutely. I forgot about Deadpool.
You forgot about Deadpool? Oh,
Yep. I was in Warhammer.
that's gonna make Ryan Reynolds really sad.
No, it's not. He made like $300 billion off of this movie. He's fine.
How much has it made? Like I haven't looked at the numbers.
It made $400 million over the weekend.
Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, I say that's pretty good. That's really good.
That's really, really good.
Worldwide, 500 million.
Yeah, there you go. I think Deadpool 2 made like 800 mil and one made a bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's doing great. I might go see it again. I don't know. It was really fun. I had so much fun in the theater. I laughed more than I have in a theater in a long time. Part of that is because they don't put comedies in theaters anymore. It's not like I've been seeing a lot of funny movies.
Right.
So the fact that this was a film that was trying to be funny and I was paying $10 for a ticket to go see it was a little weird.
I wish it was $10.
But that's Deadpool. It was 12, but still. Yeah.
But I get that you're rounding, but like, for me to go and get popcorn and a drink, I think it was like 44.
Well, yes, but the popcorn, I mean, how much was the ticket though?
26.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Even with the exchange rate difference there, that's insane.
Yeah. I think that's going to be why Australia gets it first, because we don't have reviews to go and fall back and be like, oh, should we see this? If we want to know if it's good, we have to go see it, which means we have to pay this much money. If we let all the
Holy
Americans
crap.
go first, see it for a third of the price, they'll tell us if it's worth seeing or not, and when it's not, we won't go.
I mean, it was only 1 day difference, right? 2 with time zone shenanigans?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah, I had a really fun time with it. It is much more of a love letter to like late 90s, mid 2000s Fox X-Men movies than I was expecting.
Right.
Like I knew Wolverine was in it, but I expected it to be more of an MCU type movie with more MCU characters. It was not. There's like some Loki season 1 stuff in here.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of the characters involved are all Fox X-Men stuff, characters from that series of films, hit and miss.
Yeah, it's X-Men, and then it's like the other Fox Marvel stuff, which is Daredevil and Blade.
Blade.
Like, it was really, really compelling and enjoyable to be sitting there being like, okay, who are these other heroes going to be? We've just seen Chris Evans get all of his skin removed.
Okay. So that actually, I think, is my favorite moment in the movie because, okay, I don't know how many people saw Loki. It doesn't really matter. Like, Deadpool and Wolverine end up getting sent to the Void, which is this nowhere's wasteland place that you go, and then a smoke monster tries to erase your existence forever. And if you run away, you're fine.
Right.
But there's a lot of other people there too, because a lot of people have been sent to the Void. So so Deadpool and Wolverine end up there. They fight each other a little bit because that's why we're here. Is we want to see a Deadpool and Wolverine fight. And then Deadpool makes a quip about Mad Max. And then these Mad Max dudes roll up like in Mad Max cars. And I was like, all right. That's pretty good. And then Chris Evans shows up. He's up on this billboard or something, jumps down, does a superhero landing, which we've established from the first 2 Deadpool films. And I'm like, oh, there's a version of Cap here. That's interesting. They got Chris Evans to come back and play a younger Cap in a Deadpool film. That's crazy. I can't believe they did that. And so the Mad Max guys roll up and they circle around him. And Chris Evans is like, if you want to get them, you got to go through me. And Deadpool's like, oh, it's Cap. He's going to say the thing.
The thing which he famously only said in Avengers Endgame, right?
Yes.
But they teased several times throughout the other Avengers movies. And he throws back his hood and goes, "Flame on!"
I was dying. That was so funny. Because I forget that he was Johnny Storm. Like, I didn't even see that movie, so that helps.
Oh, you
But,
should. It's great.
oh my gosh. Chris Evans from 2004's Fantastic Four. Glorious. I mean, so good. Like, the misdirect there was extremely well crafted. I was very happy about that.
Very, very enjoyable.
Oh. And then he gets his ass kicked by Pyro, pretty established X-Man who also has fire powers.
Powers? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's what does fire do against fire? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
But it wasn't even a stalemate. Pyro just like absorbs all of
The fire.
the fire, all of it. And so Chris Evans is like up in the sky and he just whoop, all the fire's gone and he goes, ah! Poof. And I thought he was dead, but he was not dead. He should have been dead.
He should have been dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so seeing that, it set like a baseline of like, okay, we got X-Men, like, and now we've got like original Fantastic Four, but we go off to find these other heroes who are like surviving out in the woods, more or less.
Yeah.
And you have absolutely no expectation for who these people are going to be when they then pull Wesley Snipes out of retirement to play Blade.
And 52-year-old Jennifer Garner to play Elektra from a film that nobody liked. Like,
Well, I see. Here's the thing. I forget that there was even an Elektra movie because you're right. Nobody liked that movie. I recognize her from the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, which why they make the quip of, "Hey, what about Daredevil?" And she's like, "Yeah, don't worry about him. He's not here. He died. Fine."
That was good. How big of a Brinks truck did they roll up to Jennifer Garner's house to be like, we need you to play this character that nobody liked from a movie that nobody liked. Put on the costume, put on the suit, and come back and be in a movie with us.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it, I think, is that it's a Deadpool movie and, like, it doesn't matter. It's not like we're trying to be serious with this. We're not trying to resurrect Jennifer Garner's Elektra character.
Right.
It's just a joke thing. So I think that's probably easier to get people to sign on. But yeah, she's out there. Wesley Snipes has a quip about, like, no one else ever going to be Blade, and they're trying to remake the Blade movie with somebody else right now. So he says that, and Deadpool looks at the camera, and he's like, oh.
It's a really funny, quip to just have, right? But then also you got to remember that this is explicitly a place where there are loads of Deadpools, and there is no reason there couldn't also just be loads of Blades there as well.
Right. That's a good point.
You really can't go in thinking like that, I feel like, though. I feel like you're going to rep this movie is going to, like, put your brain in knots, because it doesn't care. It just wants to have fun. It wants to make jokes.
Deadpool. Deadpool wants to have fun and be meta and make jokes about everything and not take anything seriously. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third guy is Channing Tatum playing Gambit. Which, it's, okay, the number one thing for me is it's kind of tough because Gambit is kind of a lithe, thinner, taller dude. That's kind of his body type, whether it's in animation or it's been in live action in the past. Channing Tatum is a tank. He's like 275 pounds of like muscle, and his pecs are huge, and his arms and legs are ginormous. And it's like, this doesn't feel like Gambit to me, just for body type here.
Right, but like they also, people said the same thing about Hugh Jackman and the Wolverine, and there's a reference to that in this, where Deadpool's looking for all the Wolverines, and there's a tiny little guy. Comic accurate Wolverine.
Comic accurate Wolverine, we got it, and it doesn't work, so people can stop asking for comic accurate Wolverine. Yeah, that was amazing. So, but we've had live action Gambit before, and thin live action Gambit is fine. It totally works out. He's not like abnormally thin in the comics or anything. It works. Again, it's not a huge deal. I thought his fight scene, they actually let Gambit like do pretty cool fight stuff with his cards and things in a way they really haven't before in live action. So that was good. I liked that quite a bit.
I think that is entirely a aspect of the fact that they were gonna let heroes kill people in this movie. Like,
Probably
and so
true.
when you let Gambit throw an explosive card at someone, it can't just knock him out. You want it to be fun. It's gonna blow the guy in half, or
Yeah.
5 guys in half at once. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's entirely a function of it being. Is it R in America? Because it's only MA 15 plus here.
It's R because we don't have a 15.
Right.
We go 13 or 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty awesome stuff. And then he's doing the Gambit accent, the like Creole Louisiana accent.
Uh-huh.
And it's great because like I could understand it. You can strain and figure it out if you've heard it enough.
Every other word. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But Deadpool's just like, I cannot understand anything that you're saying. Who is your dialect coach? The Minions?
No. That's great.
Yeah, good old Gambit, man. What a weird character. Yeah, and then one of the villains of this movie is Cassandra Nova, who in the comics is the twin sister of Charles Xavier,
Right.
who in one of the versions of the X-Men kills him in utero,
Right.
and in other versions doesn't. Like he's around
Right.
sometimes, and sometimes he's not, because again, whatever, in the X-Men especially. The X-Men love that stuff more than anybody else. Yeah, so she's like an incredibly powerful telekinetic and psychic who has a bit of a quirk where she can't read your mind unless she's putting her fingers into your brain, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, that's that's a
Like
thing.
it's a visual thing that really works, but I like it too in that it's a weakness. She can't read your mind from across the room.
Sure. But
Not
I mean,
that she can't just grab you and yank you towards her because she's that good
Right.
at the other stuff.
she can also just like appear behind you. It doesn't appear to be
Yeah.
a huge issue. But it is.
She can teleport somehow.
Yeah, it is. It's a weakness. Sure, it's a weakness. Having to touch base spells. Yeah.
Yeah. But generally, she's just super powerful, and she's ruling over her own little group of X-Men villains for the most part. I don't know, Psylocke. Is Psylocke a villain, or is she a good guy?
Who the hell's Psylocke?
Yeah, right? Welcome to the X-Men. There are 87 of them, and 20 more get added every day.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, she might swap over from hero to anti-hero sometimes.
probably. Yeah.
She's got a new comic coming out in November.
Wow.
I don't know a lot about her. Anyway, she's just one of the people that's there. So that she's got her own little kingdom in the void, Cassandra does, and she's, I don't know, enjoying being in charge, I guess. I don't know what you do in the void.
I don't know. Yeah, she like hangs out every day and goes looks for heroes. Like sends out hunting parties.
Yeah, I
The
guess.
Fantastic Four's hover cruiser.
Yeah. Yeah, or in the Mad Max cars too. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Anywho's. And X2 is there too from the Logan movie.
Oh yes.
They brought Daphne Keane back for that role. So here's the thing. 8-year-old Daphne Keane playing against Hugh Jackman, she was great in Logan. For an 8-year-old. I was like, you're not killing it here. You're not Haley Joel Osment, but you're doing well enough.
Who that is?
The kid in The Sixth Sense, I think he won an Oscar.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Anyway, he's just, as far as we talk about like really talented child actors, he's always
Right.
right.
She's
She's
definitely
good.
not the kid from the first live action Avatar either.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good enough. She's good enough. And I don't know that she's that much better now, I guess is my point.
I mean, she didn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting in this.
No.
She just had to like, I don't know, be there and punch Logan in the arm and be like, you were never the right guy until you peace out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, we're calling back Logan and it's nice and everything, but whatever.
Whatever.
So they go to fight Cassandra, and like everyone does their, does their moves. And she's got the sunglasses that she had from the first movie still, and it's kind of cute that she has them. And anywho, yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's not like the greatest choreography of all time. There's a lot of close up, like, we're going to focus on this person now.
Right.
And now we're going to focus on this person. And are they in the same room? Maybe.
Maybe.
We're not going to show you.
Right.
It might just be on a green screen doing moves.
Yeah. That entire fight scene, I don't like. They definitely try to give everyone their own little moment of glory, but the
Yes.
space in which they're having that fight scene feels like it's 2 feet wide, right? And everyone should be
Yeah.
up in everyone's business, and
Yeah.
they just nod around, and when everyone gets their own little moment,
Nope.
it honestly might be one of the weakest elements of the movie, but it's still a really fun fight scene, seeing like Gambit kill people, and I guess Blade killing people, but it's like, I'm not really interested. Man has a knife and a sword.
Right. He's
I
got
don't-
special stuff for killing vampires, but there aren't any vampires for him to take down. So
Right.
that's a problem for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daywalker. Yeah, I really think the character that benefited the most from that was Gambit, because it was really cool to see some solid Gambit murdering folk in a fight scene, which we've never gotten in live action before. So that's
Right.
good. Their whole plan hinges on grabbing Magneto's helmet, which is gone. So then it turns out Juggernaut's
Hang on.
helmet works the same way, and it's like, I'm not sure that it does, but all right. It's a Deadpool movie. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, so X2 cuts Juggernaut's feet off, and then steals the helmet and gets them to Deadpool and Wolverine. And they put the helmet on Cassandra and defeat her. And then she gets shot a bunch by Pyro, who's working for the TVA, which we haven't talked about at all because they don't matter.
No.
Not really, anyway. And I did have a question about that. Like, Charles gets shot and paralyzed. That's a kind of like one of his big character beats for Charles Xavier. Cassandra gets shot in the chest like 6 times, and then she shrugs it off.
Yeah.
She's fine for the rest of the movie.
So, yeah, she can.
Oh, I lost you. You are gone.
How about now?
You're back.
It's probably my wireless headphone died because we've been talking for so long. Yeah, so she has bullshit powers, right? Like matter manipulation. So Wolverine stabs her in the chest earlier in the movie.
And she recovers from that. That's a good point.
She just heals it, and so she can't do it when she's got the helmet on, and that's the crux. It's like, I can let you go if you remove the helmet, but you'll kill us if we remove the helmet. And she's like, yeah, I'll do that too.
Yeah, it's good. I appreciate that. I appreciated that she wasn't like, of course I won't. I'll totally let you live, because they're not going to believe her anyway. She's just like, yeah, no, I'm evil and bad. I'm going to kill you.
Right.
That was fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, but then they need her
To get out.
to get out, which wasn't part of the plan initially. I don't think. Maybe it was.
I think it was. Like, she could get them out, but they had to get close to her. And
Yeah,
the other
but
way to
then
get
they-
close to her was to put the helmet on her. Because they didn't know
Right.
how she could get out. It might have been like a portal in the back room. We don't know. They didn't know her.
Yeah.
So the idea was to get in close, disable her powers, torture, interrogate her until they figure it out. But Pyro stuffed it up, and
Right. Pyro provided them exactly what they needed to get what they wanted, because if he doesn't do that, I don't think she helps them at all. And then
I
it
mean-
turns out she has a sling ring from a Doctor Strange that wandered past.
yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't her powers at all. She could have just sling ringed their way out of there with.
Well, they don't know how to use a sling ring. I don't think any of them recognize it.
Yeah, but she could.
She could, but she would have been dead. If she died, and they go, well, but, and walk away, like, they don't go sit there and loot her corpse and be like, huh, she had some weird knuckle dusters. Huh.
That's fair. Anywho, she has a sling ring. It's kind of fun. And then Deadpool and Wolverine
I don't know that
go
she needs
back.
it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Goes back to the universe. It turns out the rogue agent in the TVA from the series Loki is trying to destroy timelines because it's easier than pruning timelines. He just doesn't want to do as much work. I guess he's lazy. And they have to stop him, and Cassandra shows up, and she's like, "Oh, this is great. I'll use your machine to destroy timelines because I'm generically evil now." I don't know, man. The villainy in this movie is not great.
No, especially when they're getting out of the void, Logan has like a heart to heart with her and being like, "Yeah, Charles would have loved you too if he knew about you, right? Like he would have absolutely
Right.
believed in you as much as he did me." And that's
Mm-hmm.
really like the emotional tipping point that turns her to be like, "All right, I'll let you guys get out of here."
Yeah.
That is all immediately forgotten when she gets to a world that had a Charles Xavier, you know?
Yep. And immediately decides to destroy this timeline and destroy all the timelines. So all that's left is the void. And it's like, Sandra, we just had a talk. We just had a heart to heart. What is wrong with you?
If you destroy all the timelines and just leave the void, the big
Yeah.
smoke cloud won't get any more food because you won't have anything to pay rent with. You'll become rent.
It's a good point. That is a really good point.
Yeah.
And then as far as what's fun that remains in the movie, she's trying to destroy the timeline, and she sicks like 100 Deadpool variants on Deadpool and Wolverine to keep them busy while she does that.
Uh-huh.
Which again, don't know why they're working for Cassandra, but whatever. They're willing to do this thing.
They're mercs. They're getting paid somehow.
Yeah, I guess.
Immunity from being hunted down and fed to Cloud Guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The Deadpool needs that, you know?
A chance to get out of the void.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you would trust Cassandra anyway.
Yeah.
Anywho, the whole point is that we get Deadpool and Wolverine fighting a whole bunch of them.
A whole bunch of Deadpools.
We have Samurai Deadpool. We have Woman Deadpool. We have a couple baby Deadpools. We have Kidpool. We have Floating Copter Head Deadpool. I think voiced by Nathan Fillion. I think that one was.
One of them is
I
voiced
saw
by
a list.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, really? I didn't see
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. So then all these other Deadpools really suck because Wolverine and Deadpool Prime kick their asses. Except then they regenerate. And but whatever. Except for Nice Pool. We haven't even talked about Nice Pool.
Nice Pool and his Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, Nice Pool is a ton of fun. So
He's
they
really
do
fun.
run into a Deadpool before that scene in the void. When they're trying to figure out where Blade and X2 and Gambit are. And so then they run into a Deadpool variant who doesn't wear a mask. It's just Ryan Reynolds with like long flowing
Flowing
locks. And yeah, it's just like super nice and positive and like willing to help everybody out and doesn't seem as mentally disturbed as Deadpool Prime in any sense somehow.
Right. He also has a dog,
Yeah.
which I saw some the clips from like Ryan Reynolds on Talk Show talking about where they found that dog. Which
Okay.
It was the winner of the UK's Ugliest Dog Award. And its tongue is not CGI in the film. That is how big its tongue is.
Nice. It's licking Ryan Reynolds right on the mouth several times.
He describes it as like getting to second base with the dog. Right? That dog's tongue is inside Ryan Reynolds' mouth, and he nearly threw up every take.
He does a good job pretending like it's cool, though. It's a very Deadpool thing. Let a dog lick your mouth like that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Dog pool. Good old dog pool.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah. I don't like that as much as dog pool, but it's pretty
No,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. So basically, there's a tiny little side quest where Deadpool Prime wants this dog more than anything else. and is basically hoping for something terrible to happen to Nice Pool, so he gets his dog. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, that is the Deadpool that does not have any regenerative powers. So
Yeah. It's like the regenerative powers are tied to his being an asshole. Like once he loses that, it's done. That's actually a pretty good moment. He gets like Deadpool throws him in front of the other Deadpools and they shoot him a million times and then we go back behind cover. And Deadpool's like, "How long does it take you to regenerate?" And Nice Pool goes, "Regenerate." Just,
it's really good.
it's so good. So then he gets murdered, his head gets blown off, and now Deadpool got his dog, so that's a major win for him.
And his dual Desert Eagle gold-plated pistols.
Oh, that's right. And the awesome guns.
Yeah. In front of the funniest store ever to be in a background shot of any movie, I think.
Yep. They like Deadpool and Wolverine crashed through the front of this store, and I caught it the first time they crashed through. It's Lee Fields, and then it says feet only in there somewhere too.
Yes,
and I can't quite tell what kind of a store it is, but it's very much a Rob Liefeld joke, and I'm here for it.
Yes. So for those who don't know, Rob Liefeld cannot draw feet, and will do everything in his power to not draw feet in the comics.
Doesn't he have a problem with hands too? I mean, everybody has a problem with hands.
I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe it was a shoe store.
No, you're right. I think it's just feet. But like, there are subreddits devoted to how bad Rob Liefeld's art is. He frequently features disproportionate limbs, minimal attention to fine detail. Like, yeah.
He did the ridiculous Captain America one.
Oh, right. Where his chest is like 97 inches.
Where he's basically a space marine. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's Liefeld. I think that's Liefeld in a nutshell. That is his style right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, he did a lot of his work in the 90s. And like, man, comics in the 90s were out there. They were trying stuff. They were flamboyant.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Part of it was just the time.
Right.
But part of it is that he's not good at drawing people, it turns out. What is this?
What is what?
I think it's a Loki variant, but check this out.
What? The fuck am I looking at?
Legs. Sort of.
Yeah, that's a lot of legs. That woman
Yeah.
is 3/5 legs.
Uh-huh. Rob Liefeld, everybody.
Where do her like abdominal organs go? Like,
That's another issue we're having. I mean, she's magic. She can probably put her organs elsewhere if she wants to.
If she wants, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Anywho, Rob so the fact that they did Liefeld joke a couple times, good stuff. Really, really great stuff by them.
Yeah, good stuff.
So then it ends up that, oh no, the only way to stop Cassandra from destroying this timeline where Deadpool and all of his loved ones live is by holding the positive and negatively charged ions, antimatter and positive matter things at the same time, and that'll create a short circuit, but you'll die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Wolverine is like, I got nothing, man. Oh, that's another thing. Wolverine has a side story where he's very sad because everyone hates him in his universe because he was blackout drunk when someone came for the X-Men and they all died and he couldn't save them. And then he goes on a revenge rampage and like kills the people responsible and probably a lot of people that weren't responsible because he was just going nuts.
Wolverine maybe did some mass murder.
Right. Of innocence, probably.
Yeah, they don't never like say here's exactly what he did. He's like,
No.
I killed some people, not just the men, but the women and the children too. You know,
right. I think he says, I just kept killing. And it's like, oh, okay. So, okay, number one, your opinion of yourself is pretty high, Wolverine. If something came for all of the other X-Men and killed them, you were probably going to die too. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the thing that he like it's not like Doomsday like Victor Von Doom showed up and killed all the X-Men. The way he says it is like a bunch of people who were just like angry at mutants. It was just like a rabble of people.
Okay, but that's ridiculous. That's not how any of this works.
Right, but like I'm just like, so how did all of the X-Men die? And they're like, they
Right.
just refused to fight back when like hordes of people showed up. Like, we like no, it's very Magnus the Red. It's like we can't prove that we're the power abusing monsters that we might be. You know, if we have to let them attack us, and we can't fight back.
Right. But the trick here, Xavier can go, all of you want to go home. That's it. Done. Easy. Doesn't have to fight. Doesn't have to hurt anyone. Just like, you don't want to be here. You want to go home. That's it.
Yep.
Like, that's why the X-Men never get killed by random humans in the stories. Because it's impossible. It's a bad story beat, if that's what they're saying happened.
I just, because they're not specific. I did not pick up on. It is a X-Men level threat that came to the mansion and killed all the X-Men.
It had to have been.
No, maybe they got Magneto's helmet on and shut out Charles's powers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Point being, that is actually funny. If all the other X-Men are like, we're willing to lay down our lives to prove to these humans we're not monsters. And it's like, Wolverine's like, if I was there, fuck that. I'm fighting back. Because that's exactly what would have happened. Charles would have been like, no, Logan, you can't fight back against these humans. We'll prove them right. And he's like, I don't care what you're saying, old man.
Right, but
I'm gonna stab these guys right through the face.
I mean, that's the thing. Even if he doesn't fight back, he'll prove them right because he can't die. Like, they won't be able to kill him.
That's a fair point. Anyway, so he's sad, and Wolverine wants to die. So they're going down to this, save the world machine, and Wolverine's like, look, I got this, man. I got nothing left. I don't care about living anyway. And you have, like, friends and family and an ex and stuff. And so Deadpool's like, all right, cool. And they get down there, and Deadpool's like, nope, I'm going to do it. It's like, okay, so this is just pure Deadpool, right? Like, this is just, I'm wacky and zany, and I'm going to do the thing that nobody expects me to do because it's funny.
Uh-huh, yeah.
I guess.
So
So he's trying to do it, and he can't quite reach the antimatter pylon. He's got the matter pylon, but the antimatter pylon is too far away.
Uh-huh.
And then Wolverine shows up, and they join hands, and they complete the bridge, and they save the day. And you're like, oh no, Wolverine and Deadpool died in a Deadpool movie. But then they don't.
But then they don't.
But then they don't.
Then Hugh Jackman just like loses his shit. It's fine.
Right.
Which
In a very strategic way.
how old is Hugh Jackman? He's
60 something?
He's in his 50s. He's 55.
55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good grief.
He's looking all right.
Yeah.
I mean, he has access to, like, chemicals that we do not have access to. But yes, he looks pretty good.
He is a multimillionaire who can set aside 6 months of his life just to dedicate to eating healthy and working out with chemical stimulants. Right.
At this point, do you think he ever gets out of Wolverine shape? He's like, they're going to make another Wolverine film in another year. Might as well stay in Wolverine shape, you know? Do you think it's easier to stay in Wolverine shape or get in Wolverine shape, lose it, and go back to it when the next movie happens?
I think it would. I don't know that he just wants to live like that forever. You know.
Right. I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
I think.
But I imagine sustaining it is probably easier than going from.
I mean, he probably sustains a very healthy physique normally.
So he's like 80% Wolverine.
He's like buff dude at a gym kind of guy, right? Like
so
he's
60%?
lean. He's just very lean. He probably keeps lean. Because,
Yeah.
like, to get that look on camera, they have to dehydrate the actor for, like,
Yes.
3 days before the shoot. Like, he didn't have any water before that, and then they lathered him up with oil, right?
Right. That's
what,
true.
What
That's
you're
true.
looking at is not a person who could just walk around day to day.
No, you can't starve yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, he did famously say that after Logan, he wasn't going to be playing Wolverine anymore.
He did. But like, we also never thought that Jennifer Garner would do Elektra again.
Right.
So
But she never publicly said that, right? Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, do we think he's gonna do more Wolverine?
Oh, yeah, sure seems like it.
No, interesting.
Dude, there's a couple great jokes about Wolverine that Deadpool.
Yeah.
One of them is he finds Wolverine. Yeah, well, yes, there's that one. But then he finds Wolverine and goes, "Welcome to the MCU, buddy. You're joining at a bit of a low point." And then yeah, he's like talking to somebody else, and he says, "Yeah, he's going to have him playing Wolverine until he's 90. They're never letting him go. Fox killed him, and the MCU brought him back, and they're never going to let him stop doing this."
Right.
Yeah. The opening scene of this film is fantastic metacontextually and a lot of fun too. It is Deadpool literally digging the corpse of Wolverine out of the grave he was put into at the end of Logan and using his titanium bones to murder TV agents for like 10 minutes.
I think you even skipped over my favorite part, which is where he says, "So I bet you're all wondering how are we going to handle this delicately?" You know, as it like zooms out onto the grave.
Yeah, how are we gonna jive with the ending of Logan, a really great movie and an incredible send-off for a great character?
We aren't. Oh, it's incredible.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good.
Oh.
Oh. Yep. There's a really fun running joke too, where it happens a few times in the film where something bad happens, like a character has an expectation that isn't fulfilled, and usually it's Deadpool, and he just goes, "Fuck!" like raging, screaming it, right?
Right.
And then at the end of the movie, our TVA agent, who was trying to wipe out timelines, tries to blame everything on Cassandra when his boss shows up. And he's like, "Oh, poor Deadpool and Wolverine, they sacrificed themselves to save the timeline, and they can't tell on me because they're dead." And then they come up the stairs and like, "Howdy ho, neighbor," and he goes, "Fuck!" It's so good.
Oh, yeah. That's good stuff.
Is great. And then there's the other, yeah. I mean, it's a Deadpool film minus the cocaine, which he's very clear about at the start of the movie is, Feige told us we can do everything but cocaine. Everything else is on the table, but no cocaine. And it was. I mean, it had 400 F-bombs in it. It had tons of violence. Deadpool uses Wolverine's claws from his corpse to stab someone right in the junk several times. Yeah. So we just get off to a great start and never really stop. Yeah, and the Deadpool Wolverine fights are like, they're fun, but they're both immortals. So there are no stakes here.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I was watching that and I just kept expecting a Pirates of the Caribbean reference where Deadpool would just be like, "So what'll it be, Jack? Two immortals locked in combat until Judgment Day," you know? Which,
Yes, that's effectively what it is. Yeah. So it's fun, but it's meaningless, is what it is. And it kind of works because Wolverine's just a ball of rage anyway. And Deadpool like doesn't give a shit about anything regardless. So for them to fight each other, recognize it's futile, and do it anyway is totally in character for these guys. It's not like it's not like they're both logical enough to be like, "Oh, it doesn't serve any purpose." Like, they're just going to do it anyway. They just want to hurt each other, and that's enough, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks like maybe sad Wolverine is going to go off on his own at the end of the film, and Deadpool's like, "You should hang out with me and my friends." And apparently it works. So sad Wolverine is just part of Deadpool's retinue now, along with Colossus and Teenage Negasonic Warhead, who didn't get to do anything in this movie, by the way.
No.
She was there. She didn't do anything. Yeah. And then there's this whole stupid storyline where Deadpool's girlfriend is like, you need to do something with your life. You're really sad after the Avengers and X-Men rejected you. Like, pick up the pieces and get out there and do stuff. And then he's like, I'm gonna break up with you because I'm sad. And then in the end, it works out. It has nothing to do with the movie. I don't know why that's in there.
It's entirely there just so Deadpool can have the epiphany that it's like, I'm doing it because they need me to, not because I need it. It's
Yeah, but it's
entirely.
Deadpool. Who cares? Deadpool could do it for him.
He could, but like, if he dies, there's no more him. So it's pretty anti doing it for him.
Right. Well, that's a good point. So the whole final scene, he has to have another motivation other than self-preservation for that.
Right, because self-preservation's kind of all he's got. Like, he'll let himself get hacked to pieces, but he knows he's coming back from that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, tons of fun. It's made a bunch of money. It's Deadpool. I like Deadpool. I forget how much I like Deadpool until I'm watching Deadpool. And then I'm like, I really like Deadpool. This is really fun.
Yeah.
And then give me 6 months, I'll be like, yeah, she was good. I forget. I just forget how great it is. So, thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, though.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, they're going to do another one because this one's made $1 jillion.
Until they're 90, yeah.
Yeah. And I know I say this every time, but man, Ryan Reynolds really likes being Deadpool. Like, it is his favorite thing to do. And if he didn't like it as much as he does and didn't fight as hard for it as he did, we wouldn't have these movies. So thank you, Ryan, for doing this. I appreciate it as a Deadpool fan. Way to go.
I mean, famously, he was the one who leaked the test screening. Like, they did a test video for Deadpool 1, and Fox was like, I just sat it on a shelf, and like 3 people in the entire world had that video. Ryan Reynolds was one of them, and somebody leaked it to the internet, and it got extremely well reviewed online, and so that's why we have this,
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's his passion. And I watched a video on YouTube, a movie reviewer was like, here's the thing about the Deadpool movies. I don't really like Deadpool as a character, but I can't hate on Reynolds' passion for this. You can tell that he loves doing this, and I can't hate on a guy who's just doing what he loves and is incredibly passionate about.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's Reynolds in a nutshell. And apparently Hugh Jackman likes doing Wolverine enough that he's still doing Wolverine. So, okay.
Yeah. There's been again, all of like the press tour and stuff that they did for this.
Yep.
I saw one where they were like, look, I get you guys have been doing press tour for hours and hours. How about you guys, Ryan, you answer as though you're Hugh, you answer as though you're Ryan. And so they asked Hugh, this being Ryan, so what made you come back to the Wolverine? And Ryan Reynolds puts on an amazing Australian accent and goes, well, I put all my money into crypto and, just really desperate for money. It was great. It was a lot of fun. So I don't know if what percentage of those interviews are all rehearsed. Like they go in with like a handful of talking points, hit these jokes, but Ryan Reynolds can be Deadpool off screen as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that at its core, the non, regenerating murder side of Deadpool is just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. It's Ryan Reynolds being himself for 2 hours.
Right. Which is part of why he does it so well, is because he's not really acting for a lot of it. He's just being him. Just being a snarky son of a bitch asshole who doesn't take anything seriously. There's the great scene, too, where he's at the TVA and they suit him up. They give him a new suit and all these new weapons, and like their costumer guy is in there like squeezing his butt and like grabbing his crotch, and Deadpool comes out and goes, what does he call him?
He's a predator for sure.
Yeah, he's a predator. I'm into it, but you might want to look into that. Yeah, is great.
So, is there anything else you want to touch on with this movie?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so what about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU as Victor Von Doom?
Dumb.
Dumb? You don't like that?
Dumb. So here are the options. One is, I don't think this is going to happen, but they cast Robert Downey Jr., have him in the Doom mask the entire time, and we never see his face.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're doing that, why cast Robert Downey Jr. in this role? And then I remembered we had this discussion in The Mandalorian where I was like, why are we casting Pedro Pascal for this role with a guy who never takes off his helmet? And then he took off his helmet a bunch of times. And I was like, oh, that's why they cast Pedro Pascal in this role.
Yeah.
So my guess is they are going to be using a Robert Downey Jr. face at some point. It's not going to be behind the mask the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, why? It's so distracting. It's insanely distracting that there's an Iron Man out there. There's a Tony Stark who's running around being a villain. Just, I don't know that like it's going to confuse audiences, but they're going to be thinking that's Tony Stark. Why is he murdering civilians?
My assumption is they won't give him Tony Stark's iconic facial hair. Like they'll give him maybe a wig as well. He'll look very different. Maybe even contact lenses to change his eye color.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing: we just had Deadpool establish that Chris Evans can be both Human Torch and Captain America, right?
Except he's dead.
Well,
but
sure.
For 5 minutes,
Iron
sure.
Man. So's Iron Man.
I know, but it's jokes. We talked about how incredibly funny that was. And played off the meta-contextual stuff. It's jokes. I don't know you can have Doctor Doom in an Avengers film where it's jokes. It's not the same thing.
Right, but it also establishes that like Blade will have 2 different actors now. Like here's the thing. You can't on the one hand show that movie as part of MCU canon and not have it be canon as well, right? Like
it's Deadpool. I think you can. I think you totally can.
All
bets are off with.
I think you have to include that if it's canon, it's canon.
Yeah. Okay. So canon is within the multiverse. There is a Chris Evans. There is a guy who looks like Cap, who is Johnny Storm. How does this work in story?
It's
right.
I think
exactly.
I think you just nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: we already know that there's, like in Doctor Strange went to another universe, and there was a Fantastic Four Reed Richards, who was not the same one as the Reed Richards with Chris Evans.
Correct, but who he wasn't played by Mark Ruffalo. They weren't like the guy who plays Hulk is now playing Reed Richards in this multiverse.
Right.
That's another step beyond.
But they did have Peggy Carter, who wasn't like a secret agent, be Captain UK or whatever.
That's a good point, actually. That's the better analog. That's perfect.
Maybe.
She's still Peggy Carter. She just took a different life path in that multiverse. Right. If she'd been like Professor Xavier, it'd be like, okay. That's a little harder to get your head around. That's all I'm saying. Look, it might be fine. He might kick butt. He might be an incredible Victor Von Doom. And the fact that it's Robert Downey Jr. never really matters, and it doesn't trip anybody up, and it's awesome. That's entirely possible. I just don't know that's a guarantee at this point.
Yeah. Look, I think it's done probably entirely because it's Robert Downey Jr. The fans love him. I think he literally de-ages with adulation, right? Like as crowds scream for him, I think he literally stops the clock.
Man, he looked pretty old on stage at Comic-Con. You see those photos? He does not look young and spry, I can tell you that much.
No, he doesn't look young and spry, but he doesn't look, I don't know, like Gandalf, you know?
I don't know. I did not see joy in his eye there. Let's just say that.
How old is he? He's 59.
Yeah.
So he's only slightly older than
Hugh.
Yeah.
And Hugh looks old too, man. He's slowing down.
Yeah, but like until he's 90. Like, same with Robert Downey Jr.
Why are we doing this as a society? Like, Trump's 78 and Biden was 82. And like we just have all these old people refusing to give up their jobs so that younger people come in and take them. Like, give us a younger Victor Von Doom. This is not hard. Like, we did this in the mid 2000s. The MCU took a chance on Robert Downey Jr. They took a chance on Chris Evans. They took a chance on Chris Hemsworth. It worked out wildly well, but that was no guarantee for them at all. And now they can't do it. Or they are taking chances on younger talent and it's not working out and it's freaking them out.
Right. Yeah. Maybe they're
I mean,
overcorrecting. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's what it is. In fairness, Jonathan Majors, who they had for King and was awesome, went to prison. So that one's not their fault. They nailed that one.
They had to pivot.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, the new people we bring in, it's hit and miss. This isn't working as often as we need it to. When it does work, sometimes it doesn't work for reasons outside of our control. We can't seem to reestablish a new trio of Chris, and Robert here. Let's go back to the well, man. If we back up the Brinks truck to Robert Downey Jr.'s house again, he'll come back.
Yeah.
It's desperate. I don't like it.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the young stars they've got. I think Haley Steinfeld, who plays young Hawkeye, girl Hawkeye, is really likable. She's great. I think Florence Pugh playing Black Widow's sister is kicking butt.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the rest... I'm trying to think of any of the younger actors they've put in the MCU have really worked out.
Tom Holland?
Yeah, but I mean, he's 35 now. I mean... Okay, he's 28.
I was going to say he's not 35.
He's not 35. He's closer to 35 than 20, though.
Yeah, that's technically true, yes.
Okay, here's a huge one. But I mean, I don't know. He's not in anything except his own... The Sony owning of Spider-Man screws up his whole thing, right? It really seems like they can't just dump him into any MCU movie.
Right.
It needs to be negotiated. They got him in Infinity War and Endgame, but it seems like putting and Civil War for 10 minutes. But I don't know if... And he hasn't been in anything since, except for No Way Home, which is a Sony film.
It's a Spider-Man movie.
And it's a Spider-Man movie, so he has to be in it. Right. I don't know what it would take with the negotiations between the MCU and Sony to get Tom Holland's Spider-Man back in an MCU film. So I mean, yes, he's great and he's beloved. And if they could get him into an Avengers movie, that would be a huge win for them.
Right.
It would be the biggest win they could get from their younger stars.
So, yeah, that's the thing. They announced Robert Downey Jr. is coming back for Doomsday.
Yeah.
Right? Avengers 5 or 6? I wasn't clear on which one it would be. Right?
Sure.
Who's the Avengers lineup? Is it Ant-Man, Captain America, the Winter Soldier?
Cap is old. Unless they multiverse Cap.
No. It's
Falcon.
The Falcon.
Yeah.
It's the Falcon doing business as Captain America.
Which I forgot about him, and that's not a good sign. That's not a great sign for his character. I like him.
I like Anthony Mackie. He's great. I think he's a really good actor.
I do too. But, like, he's not Cap.
He is Cap.
He is.
No, he is Cap, no Cap.
I said he is.
He is.
I know. I caught your no cap there. Good job. So there's him. So it's like him and Girl Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And 12-year-old Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel.
Sure. I mean,
there's a scene at the end of the Marvels where Girl Hawkeye recruits her to, like, come hang out.
Sure.
But that's young Avengers stuff. Who are the Avengers?
I was about to say Vision, but no, he's dead.
He's dead. Wanda?
No, Wanda's evil.
She's bad now, right?
Yeah, she's a villain and also maybe dead. I don't remember how the Doctor Strange movie ends.
No, she lives. She wins.
Does she wins?
No, you're right. She gets crushed by a bunch of rocks, but she's gonna live. Don't worry about it. I forgot. That's actually funny. I'm so convinced she's not actually dead that my brain was like, she didn't die, but she did in the movie. As far as the movie's concerned, they
She's
tried to
dead.
tell us that she's dead.
Right.
You're right. So she's dead.
But there's no like,
Doctor Strange is around.
Right,
Yeah.
but is he an Avenger?
Yes. He's in Endgame and Infinity War.
Right,
He's
but
part of the team.
But he's not an
Look,
Avenger.
The concept of an Avenger in the comics is really amorphous.
Well, no, in the comics,
It
it's a little
is.
more solid. Isn't there only like 7 Avengers at any given time?
Sometimes.
And it's a huge issue that sometimes you gotta boot people off the team. That is what I've heard from people who've read way more comics than me.
I know. I haven't read enough to be really solid on this either.
And that's the thing. I don't think the movies are as solid as they are in the comic books. And
Right.
Right. But like, here's the thing. If we just say turned up in an Avengers movie makes them an Avenger, then all of the sorcerers who turned up in Endgame are Avengers.
And the Guardians of the Galaxy are all Avengers too, right?
Right. And every single Wakandan soldier, I don't think they're all Avengers.
Right. Right. No, you're right. So yeah, I don't know who the official Avengers would be.
Thor, probably, right?
Yes. Weaker, shittier Hulk. Yes. Him.
Hey, every team needs a good guy in the chair.
Yeah, I guess he's guy in the chair now. That makes me so mad.
So it's Thor, Professor Hulk, Ant-Man, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That's 5.
They've got Winter Soldier running around with like anti-heroes in that Thunderbolts movie though. But he's a good guy. I don't know why he's in there. I'm going to be honest. He should be probably part of the Avengers.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that he's like best friends with the Falcon America, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they're a buddy cop duo at this point.
Totally buddy cop duo. Yes.
Right.
So that's 5.
That's 5.
Black Widow's dead.
Right.
Old Cap is old.
What about Florence Pugh as doing business as Black Widow?
Yeah, she's more anti-hero though. I don't think she has like the moral compass that Black Widow did.
Okay. Did I say Spider-Man?
Nope.
Okay, so that's 6.
Old Hawkeye?
Old Hawkeye, maybe young Hawkeye. That gets us 8.
Old Hawkeye is old though. Like they really established that in his show. Like he's got hearing problems and like back issues and like he is not doing well. I don't know that he wants to hang out with the Avengers anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll just say young Hawkeye.
Yeah, she's right on that border of like young Avengers and like main team Avengers.
Right.
But I think she could do both. But the other problem here, yeah, I don't see why not. Charlie Cox's Daredevil would be awesome.
That would be really cool. I think that would be a lot of fun, but it's like, do they give him a new movie before the Avengers come out? Like, there's nothing slated for a Daredevil movie yet.
They dumped him in She-Hulk and didn't really worry about establishing him previously in the MCU.
Sure,
I think he can just show up.
He also showed up in No Way Home.
Yeah, that's right. They have established him.
Right.
He's in there. We're good.
Right. It's just at one point, his TV show was pseudo-canon, and now, as far as I'm concerned or aware, it was later labeled non-canon because it's a Netflix production, and then Netflix.
No, they brought it in because they got Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin too.
Right.
I mean, I think they're picking and choosing the parts from those shows they want. Like they're not bringing Iron Fist in, I don't think.
Right.
And they might probably not bringing in Jessica Jones either, but they could if they wanted to, right?
Right.
I think they're just grabbing stuff they think works and they're bringing it into the MCU, and that's Charlie Cox's Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin.
Right.
Nothing else yet, but they could. I think it's optioned. So yeah, Daredevil would be cool.
Yeah.
Part of the problem with Hawkeye, like it's tough because Hawkeye is established to be supernaturally good at shooting a bow and arrow and doing anything that requires hand-eye coordination, right? Like they mentioned that he doesn't play golf because he just shoots a perfect hole-in-one on every hole and it's boring.
Right.
So young girl Hawkeye is not that. Like she's talented and she's worked really hard.
Right.
But
Well,
at no point is she supernaturally gifted at doing this stuff.
that's the problem. They at no point actually say here is Jeremy Renner's supernatural ability source, right?
Right. There isn't one.
There
He's
isn't one.
born that way. He's basically an X-Man, right?
Yeah, yeah. So maybe,
Yeah.
maybe they do an X-Men, like they're doing Fantastic Four before the next Avengers, or maybe the Fantastic Four will be on the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could see that. I mean, that's been done in the comics for sure. Because everything's been done in the comics. Oh, then we have Girl Black Panther. Forgot about her.
Yeah, yeah.
Shuri's around.
Black Panther.
So they've got people. They've got a decent roster that they can pull from for this thing.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to work, but like, here's the thing. Nobody was sure the first Avengers film was going to work either.
Right.
Like, Iron Man was a hit. People really liked Iron Man. Captain America was pretty popular. They were into that. The Hulk movies were bad. Thor 1 is pretty fun, and Thor 2 sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it was this total mixed bag. And they're like, we're going to throw all these characters together in one movie, and it worked.
Thor 2 came out after the first Avengers, but yeah.
Oh, no, you're right about that.
Yeah.
So all we had was first Thor, which was good.
We had Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, though, and Iron Man 2 is
Yeah.
mixed. I mean, Justin Hammer is enjoyable and a delight as a villain. But,
He is, undoubtedly.
The rest of the movie with Whiplash is...
Yeah. Whiplash is a miss.
I want my bird, you know.
Right. But I think what's important for the Avengers movie is that people... So...
Yeah, yeah.
Having RDJ's Tony in the movie, I think, was what really helped it succeed as much as it did. So, yeah, people having questions about whether this Avengers thing is going to work is not new.
Well, I'm not questioning whether or not it'll work. I assume it'll be a fine-ish movie. I just don't know who's in it.
Well, I mean, we're not going to get that for a while.
No. I mean...
When's it supposed to come out? Secret Wars first? 2027 Secret Wars.
2026 is Doomsday. Is what it says here on Wikipedia.
Okay, so Doomsday's first, and then they do Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Which is... So Secret Wars is the Skrull invasion of, like, the galaxy. Which they already did in Secret Invasion, the TV show. That sucked. So I'm wondering if they're just like, scrub that from the canon. We're doing this again better.
Uh-huh.
Probably.
Yeah. So Doomsday first. Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking at the movies that are like slated to come out between now and then. And it's Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Blade.
Yo.
So I don't know who's in Thunderbolts, or, you know, or anything.
I do.
Okay.
It's a whole bunch of people. Bucky's in there. Natasha's sister in there. Whatever her name is.
Florence Pugh.
Elena. Florence Pugh is in there. The Red Guardian's in there. David Harbour's character.
Right. U.S. Agent John Walker.
Yeah, U.S. Agent. The girl who plays Ghost from Ant-Man 2 that nobody remembers.
Yeah. Harrison Ford's in it.
Yeah, but he's not a Thunderbolt.
No.
He plays...
Well, it says here his name is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, so he's the government guy. He's a character... Thunderbolt Ross is the government dude in previous Avengers films. They just recast him with Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The other guy wasn't presidential enough?
He's not president. He's like Secretary of Defense or something.
Harrison Ford is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, the President of the United States.
Oh, so this version of him is president, but previous versions of Thunderbolt Ross were not president.
Yeah.
Okay, so he got up to the presidency. Nice job, Thunderbolt Ross.
Why are we electing old people as president?
True to life.
He's 82, guys. Stop making Harrison Ford work.
I know. Can we leave Harrison Ford alone, please? Please. He's another guy. We just keep trotting out. So there is a cast list for Avengers Doomsday, but it's literally just the cast of the Fantastic Four and Robert Downey Jr. So that's funny.
So my guess is it'll be Captain America,
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic Four,
Yep.
because like Doom, Victor Von Doom is a Fantastic Four villain in my books, and that's entirely because I watched the Fantastic Four movies with Chris Evans, and like that's where I know him from. So I get that he's like a really big player as a villain in the Marvel comics and stuff, but he's a Fantastic Four villain to me.
He is. No, he is. I think you're right about that.
Um,
Yeah, so Fantastic Four's in there. I mean, I'm gonna guess Bucky's involved.
they're a
Winter
package.
Soldier.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say Thor. Thor shows up.
Yep. I think you're probably right about that one. I mean, Professor Hulk's got to be involved.
Yeah, maybe. Do we get Captain Marvel?
Ooh, she's barely in Endgame. I don't know. That's a tricky one.
I have not seen the Marvels movie.
No, me neither. I don't think it changes anything about her character. I think she's still out there, like, intergalactically doing Boy Scout stuff all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and I think she only really shows up for, like, universe-level threats. I don't think she's going to show up for Doctor Doom.
Oh, okay.
I think she's busy doing other stuff. If they do bring her into it, I won't be surprised, but I just wouldn't be surprised if they don't either because of the character.
Right. I mean, actually, I don't think Thor will show up.
Yeah?
He's off, like, raising a kid, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, but we're back, though. Dude, that's the other thing. There's, like, the baby Avengers group. Like, Wanda's kids, Wiccan and Speed from her TV show, have to show up, and they're, like, 10. And Thor's kids, like, 8.
Yeah.
So they have, like, baby Avengers, young Avengers, and then the A-team.
You could even have Tony Stark's kid.
Yeah. Morgan could show up.
Yeah.
You can put her in a little Iron Man suit.
Yeah. That would be so funny if it's little baby Morgan in an Iron Man suit versus Victor Von Doom in Avengers, played by Tony Stark.
Sounds terrible. Please let's not do that. Yeah. Let's not do that. Yeah. So they've got a roster they can pull from.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little worried about the success of the Avengers if that's the roster.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect, I guess, is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm at a point now where I don't expect good things from the MCU. But I also don't expect it to be bad right off the bat. I don't assume terrible garbage. Even though sometimes we get terrible garbage.
What if they pull the Eternals for the Avengers movie? We get Angelina Jolie come back.
That would fill out the roster so fast.
Maybe they'll talk about the giant celestial climbing out of planet Earth for the last 15 years.
Yeah. We totally just finish the story of the Eternals in this Avengers film.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Eternals are ever coming back, man. I think we have buried them. They are dead.
They're so gone.
They're so gone.
All right.
Fun to talk about, though.
Fun to talk about. All right. Let's wrap this up. Let's put a bow on it.
All right. Akitas asked if baby Thor ages faster. She's an alien, so maybe.
She's not Thor's biological... Well, actually,
No.
she's Chris Hemsworth's biological daughter as an actress.
Right, but the character is not.
But the character is not, yeah.
Yeah. I think you can do whatever they want with her. If they want to keep her 8 for a long time, they can. If they want to age her up to like 15, they can too.
Ant-Man's got a daughter as well who's like stealing suits.
Right.
Yeah.
Although baby girl Ant-Man.
Would she be teen Avengers?
Yeah, she'd be young Avengers.
She's late teen Avengers.
She is. She's in
Young
the same
adult.
group with young Hawkeye.
Right.
Yeah, so we've got baby Avengers, young Avengers, adult Avengers, adult Avengers. There's too much going on. This is not going great, I don't think.
No.
The roster is too big.
It's huge.
Too big. All right, good. So that is going to be it from us today. This has been Falcon Paladin Somicron coming at you with yet another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, talking about all sorts of crazy, fun, nerdy stuff, Warhammer, MCU, politics. Good heavens.
So much.
What will we not talk about next week? Who knows? But yeah, if you like the podcast, you want to support it, you can watch it at twitch.tv/Somicron. You can follow and subscribe over there. You can watch them at youtube.com/@Somicron if you prefer that platform, and subscribe on that platform too. You can support the podcast by going to patreon.com/Somicron and subbing on that platform. Pledging, I guess, is a better word for that one. And then by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. All good ways to support the pod. Hope you're enjoying it. And until next week, thanks for being here and keeping us company. And you take care of yourself.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.